Battlefront news. So, Battlefront 2, the multiplayer Star Wars game from DICE, has seen a major resurgence of players in the past month or so, uh, which can kind of be attributed to Andor, the new Star Wars show. Season 2 just aired, and then also May the 4th, which is Star Wars Day, recently came up. And so those are some of the reasons that people are attributing to the recent popularity or modern popularity of Battlefront 2. And with that popularity has come a lot of fans asking, well, if Battlefront 2 is so popular, why don't we have a Battlefront 3? They kind of, some of the former DICE developers, some of the people that worked on Battlefront 2, the 2017 Battlefront 2, provided some clarity as to why it might not be super likely that we're getting Battlefront 3 anytime soon. They basically said that a lot of the folks that worked on Battlefront 2 are now at different studios. Let's see, they said some of them are working at King, Avalanche, Star Stables, Paradox, Starbreeze, and Mojang, just to name a few. And
Hmm.
that comes from one of the former developers. Um, so it kind of stinks because this game, it's had its moments in the past. It had a rocky launch with a lot of controversy surrounding some of the microtransactions and pay to win aspects. There's that infamous Reddit post that everyone knows about where, oh God, what was the quote? It's like
Was it about the
basically,
loot boxes?
what was that?
Was it about the loot boxes?
Yeah, it was like it was like one of the most downvoted Reddit posts in history. It was like an AMA regarding Battlefront 2, and one of the
Hmm.
developers was just talking about like justifying the insane amount of time it would take to unlock certain things in game versus like spending money on it. It was just some ridiculous explanation that they gave. And so there was a lot of really bad word of mouth around the time of release of the game, but as the life cycle went on, they released a lot of new stuff. The game got patched a bunch. A lot of the microtransaction elements got smoothed out a bit, and it became a lot more popular later into its life cycle. And now, where we're at is that it's become popular once again, and people want more of it. People want Battlefront 3. Um, right now, currently what Dice is working on is the next entry in the Battlefield series. So, who's to say what they work on after that? But as of right now, Battlefront doesn't seem to be their priority, despite fan interest. Even though it's only recent fan interest. But
Yeah.
did you ever play Battlefront 2, Bryson?
I got a chance to play Battlefront 2 like long after it's like,
Okay.
you know, like it's released. I'm playing the version that's, going through however many changes that had the kind of like revert of some of the um you know, systems, microtransactions, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, especially when I got a chance to play it on PC. That game is beautiful. That game
Yeah.
is beautiful. But I think honestly, man, from everything that I've seen, and here we go again, our creators, like we know that there's people over there, and like when you play Arc Raiders from a UI standpoint, from a movement standpoint, you can feel like the echo of Battlefront 2. And
Mm.
I feel like
Well,
my
for
my
those who don't know, Arc
Mhm.
Raiders, the development team behind Arc Raiders, Embark Studios, is made up of former devs from Dice, the folks who worked on some of the
Yeah.
Battlefield and Battlefront games. So that's why we're talking about some of the similarities there.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things. Like, my thought of like, why don't we have another Battlefront 2 is, well, there's two big things that come to my mind, but the main one that I think of is the talent is not there. Like, it's like this version of Dice is like, let's not forget the last Dice game we got, and we're getting in this new thing. There is a, this Dice that I think is being led by Vince. I forgot
Vince
his last
Sampella?
name. Is he the respawn guy?
Yeah, Vince Sampella. Yeah.
Yeah. This new dice that we're getting in this new battlefield that we're getting, that has a lot of promise. But before that, we're dealing with a dice that can't even. I think there's a lot. I think the talent is not there for it, and I
I
think
mean, I think it's there. I think so. I mean, I'm assuming you're referring to 2042 and how that
Yeah,
game
like think
launched.
about it.
Yeah, I
We
think. I mean, so the problem I have with that game is that it was like trend chasing, like
mhm.
in the form of like operators and stuff like that. But I think that game has a pretty solid foundation. Like, I don't think there's a lack of talent over there. I think the direction that they went in was just they were just misguided.
And I did enjoy Battlefield 2042 to an extent too. I had the game, I played it. I put
Hmm.
like a decent amount of hours into it, more than I put into like some of the recent Call of Duty games, things like that. But and it's not. I don't think that it's the lack of like when I say a lack of talent, I don't mean that like there's not talented people there. I think it's when I say talent, I kind of just meant the individuals. Like the people that made Battlefront 2 are not, I don't believe that they're still there. And I think
No,
that
yeah, they
going back to like, what that one developer said, that former DICE employee said, I feel like if DICE were to make a Battlefront 2, I mean, a Battlefront 3, this new DICE would have to learn how to make that game. It's not just
well,
like, let's
yeah,
make
I
it.
mean, but they've also been making like Battlefront is kind of just like a stripped down Battlefield with Star Wars skins. Obviously, there's more to it than that, but
That's
that
true.
is like the type
No,
of game that
that's
they've
true.
been making for years. So I think, I don't think they would struggle to make another entry. I mean, I would be curious to see how like what they would do because Battlefront 2 as it is right now is like a very complete game. Like I don't see what else. I mean, a lot of people say that they want to go back to like a lot of the ways that the original Battlefront games were, like from what I've seen, I haven't played the originals, but
Me neither.
it seems like more chaotic, I guess. But I think that's probably the direction that they'd want to go. But Battlefront 2 has like just about everything you could want from like a multiplayer like Star Wars game. Like it's got first person stormtroopers. There's like you
Yeah.
could play as General Grievous and Darth Maul, and you've got like jetpack troopers, and you could pilot ATSTs. Like I'd be
Really
curious
fun
to see
game.
where they went with Battlefront 3 because Battlefront 2 has a lot of stuff in it.
I feel like and I don't want to just Battlefield 2042 it got its hate. It's the feedback was loud enough. Things are gonna get better for the Battlefield franchise, but I feel like for in the past like few years, I've been looking at a dice that doesn't know what Battlefield is, and they're trying to figure out what it is again. And I just anticipate that Battlefront would have to have the same process. And I think that is the number one reason. But I also think number two reason is what's Disney doing with the Star Wars licenses right now? Because the EA partnership is done, or at
Yeah,
least the exclusivity like of it is done.
I think there are a few studio. Well, we had a Ubisoft Star Wars game
Yeah.
last year. I know Quantic Dream is making a Star Wars
Mhm.
game, so it seems like they're pretty open to other studios playing around in that world. I don't know exactly what their terms are or like how they make those deals or what like if there is like some overarching deal right now.
I wonder who owns Battlefront specifically. Like, could
Well,
could they give like Ubisoft the rights to make a Battlefront game?
they give the rights to Ubisoft to make a Battlefront. I don't know. I mean, I hope they wouldn't ever do
Yeah,
that,
yeah, but that's
but
interesting to me.
like legally, as a hypothetical, I would have to imagine Battlefront is owned
EA.
by DICE using the license granted by Lucasfilms. So
And
they probably couldn't do that,
was
if I
were
had to
there?
guess.
And this is something I might have to look this up real quick. But the original Battlefront, now that I think about it, was that Electronic Arts or was that Activision? Well,
It was
I'm
I don't know. I'm not
But
sure.
yeah, I think that stuff's interesting. I would like a Battlefront 3 as well. I just I give me a Battlefront 3 made by Embark, bro. That's what I want.
You and that game, the
That
Arc
studio,
Raiders.
man.
Yeah, that
Shout
studio.
out to them.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. They've got that old school Battlefield feel down. But Battlefront 2, like we can talk about it, but that game is just like so much fun. It's
Yeah.
basically a more arcadey version of Battlefield. Uh with like obviously Battlefield has like all the different vehicles, and in Battlefront you trade, like a tank out for like an ATST or like a speeder bike. Um and then like you can play as these different droids if you want to with like what's crazy about Battlefront is that like Battlefield feels well, most of the battlefields feel like very finely tuned and like well balanced. But Battlefront, every different character, like every different droid, every different hero type, every
Yeah.
different like military member, whether it's the Empire or the Rebels, like they each have their own kits and they each have like many different abilities, and then you put the star cards on top of that, which is in Battlefront 2 it like upgrades certain abilities and they have like different rarities. Like there's so much that the balancing feels like it should never work, but the game is still so much fun. And I don't know about other people, but I'm not taking a match of Battlefront 2 as seriously as I am like
Mm.
Battlefield, you know? It's really just like a stomping ground
You know,
for like role playing as, a Star Wars character in that world and having fun like being a member of like some Star Wars army. It's just a really good time.
and let me send some of my whatever little respect I could have down the drain some more. Um, I've put more hours into Battlefield 2042 than any other Battlefield game. And
Really?
so when I compare Battlefield to Star Wars, I'm taking like a few hours of Battlefield 5 and like a ton of Battlefield 2042 and I'm comparing it to Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2 just to me feels like versus Battlefield, like it has just better progression. Like I always felt like,
Mm,
okay, I'm getting enough currency so I can get the jetpack guy again. Like I want
yeah.
to go back out as a jetpack
Well,
guy. Like
that's yeah. That's well, Battle I'm glad you prefaced it by saying like you've mostly played Battlefield 2042 because
yeah,
the progression in that game really stinks. Like it's
yeah.
really bad. Games like Battlefield 3 and 4 and even like 5
Hmm.
have much better progression. But what you mentioned about like the unlocking system in Battlefront that's interesting is that it's on like a per game basis, like how well you do in the game determines like what characters you can play as. Like you get credits as you get like assists and kills and complete
Yeah,
objectives, and then you spend those on heroes. So it's a very different feel than Battlefield, where you kind of build out your kit like in between games and you're modifying your weapons. In Battlefront, it's more about having the chance to play as these different like super powered characters that have these fun abilities. It just feels more like loosey goosey in a sense, but that makes it more fun and like less serious in my eyes. Battlefield 4 has some of the best progression in terms of like unlocking weapons and attachments and all that,
vehicles.
and like any other vehicles than like any other even multiplayer shooter. Like that game is just there's so much in that game. It's crazy to me how much is in Battlefield 4 versus how little is in Battlefield 2042. I don't know if you've seen, Bryson, like the list of just like machine guns that you can unlock in Battlefield 4, but it's like a massive list, and each one of them has their own like attachments and sights and all that. It's kind
Yeah,
of crazy. It
that's
rivals like the modern Call of Duty like gunsmith stuff, honestly.
Olo, Olo, Olo. Be careful.
No, no, no. It's pretty great. I mean,
Hey,
gunsmith is really cool. Like you can do
yeah.
some really wacky stuff with gunsmith. But Battlefield 4 has like that's how I fell in love with like weapon customization in
I
games.
and I've always wanted to feel that because, like, as a I play a lot of Call of Duty growing up. I know we're kind of going a little bit away from Battlefront, but I play a lot of Call of Duty, and I remember seeing the Battlefield 3 stuff, the dum 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 dum.
Yeah.
I remember seeing all that, the moment stuff, and like all of it looked cool. And then like the Battlefield 4 stuff, I got a chance to play a little bit of Hardline, but like I'm
God,
like
why do
I'm,
you only
I
choose to play
know,
the
I
worst
know,
Battlefield
I
games?
know,
What
I
is
know.
wrong with you?
Like not even Battlefield 1, just Battlefield 5 Hardline
Well, 5
in
is good.
2042.
5's a good game. Battlefield
I
1 is like fantastic though.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But I do want to experience. I'm looking forward to the new Battlefield game because I feel like they actually might like just from the little leaks of gameplay that's coming out because there's just so many people playing it.
Mhm. Mhm.
But that looks cool, and I really like. I'm gonna be honest. I would rather a Battlefront 3 than a Battlefield. Um,
Mm.
but
No,
yeah, man.
I'm excited for Battlefield, even though their like recent track record hasn't been fantastic. I think that like the games, it seems like the direction is just off. Like they do so many things right, but then the things they do wrong have such a significant impact on the quality of the game. Like the gunplay in 2042 feels good. Like the gadgets are fun. The new like being able to
Plane sim
drop
is cool,
vehicles in front of you is cool. But like the whole operator system is just such garbage, and it's like
bro.
the whole game is influenced by that, and it
The,
just
ve-
it's such a damper on the experience.
the vehicle system was garbage. I'm gonna be
You don't like
honest.
the
Like that
vehicle
was my
system?
biggest thing. Yeah, like I think when I'm playing, like, cause the when I was playing Battlefront 3, oh Battlefront 2, I didn't play Battlefront 3, y'all. I don't have that. When I was
Oh,
playing Battlefront 2,
least, bro.
it always felt like you had to earn a vehicle, and the vehicles like were powerful, but it didn't seem like insanely oppressive. Like in
Mm.
Battlefield 2042, it's like you just get a vehicle by just camping the selection screen, and
Yeah, that's
and then
always been an
like
issue
yeah,
in the
and then like
Battlefield
you get
games.
into the game, and then it's like someone's just sitting. Like, I don't know if this has been a thing in other battlefields. There's a dude in a tank
Yep.
sitting on top of a hill,
Every
shooting
single Battlefield
every
game.
single. Bro, just give me
That's
Battlefront 3.
always been a problem.
I
It's
don't want to
always
see
been a
that problem
problem.
in the next Battlefield, bro. I really don't.
And they've
And the
tried to,
thing,
like, remedy it by like, in Battlefield 5, you had to, like, refuel your tank and, like I don't know what they did in 2042, but they know it's an issue, but it's always a problem in every Battlefield
bro,
game.
just do it like Battlefront. Like, is that not the
Well,
answer?
it's just I don't it would be very different to have people, like, unlock it via credits. Like, if they did a
Hey,
credit
man.
system, it would change it quite a bit. I mean, they could try it. I mean, I don't know if it would work. It might work.
I
Um,
think the two things I can see is either like in this. I think Battlefront also had this, and I don't know about the other Battlefield games. I know 2042 did not have this. More like interior
mm,
areas where it's like the vehicles aren't really at play as much. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like Battlefield. I mean Battlefield. Oh my god, these names. Battlefield 2042 had so many open areas because I think it was supposed to be like a VR at one time.
That was another
Um,
one of the big issues, like,
yeah,
how large the maps were, but so much of that space is just nothing. Like,
yeah.
it's just empty land in between, like, focus points.
Empty land for you to get blown up by all
Yeah,
kinds
or
of
for
like,
some helicopter to, like,
yeah,
just empty its mag in you. Yeah.
yeah. It's just insane.
Yeah, there were a lot of weird decisions in that game, but I do think, like I think Battlefront 3 could be great. I don't know how, like, the dev cycles for DICE work, like,
Oh,
is
we're
the
not
last
seeing that game for a
game
long time.
what's that?
We're not seeing that game for a long time.
Well, no, I mean, I know that it takes a while for them to make stuff, but I don't know, like, did they go straight from 2042 to this Battlefield game? Like, they're not working on other stuff, right? Like, they've
Yeah,
strictly been the
yeah.
Battlefield studio
They
for the
went straight to
past few
this.
games. So, I mean, maybe it's possible. I mean, I I don't think like I don't think the decision to make a game like Battlefront 3 would come from just like this recent popularity of Battlefront 2, because the player numbers like right now when the game is like in a resurgence don't reflect what it usually is, and I don't know what it usually is. It could be that
Mhm.
it's like relatively high, but I feel like this is like an exception where the numbers are a lot higher than they usually are because a lot of people are talking about the game, and because it's
Yeah,
popular again. I don't think they would base a big decision like making that game just because of the recent popularity
yeah.
of
No,
Battlefront 2.
I
So,
think it's also going to come down to just like the popularity of Star Wars as a brand as a whole. Like we know
mhm.
that we're going to get like our like whatever the episode 10, 11, 12 is. You know what I mean? Like
Is
it's
that a
like
thing? I don't think that's a
yeah, that's the
thing.
thing.
Well, I don't
They
isn't it like separate from the Skywalker stuff? I don't know if it's
Well, like we know they selected like the director who's gonna do the next three. Like that's like it's a that's like a recent
I know they're
announcement.
making new Star Wars movies. I just don't know if it's going to be a continuation of the
Oh
Skywalker
yeah,
saga.
it's Ray.
Are you are you
One
sure?
hundred percent.
Really?
Yeah, yes,
Well,
yes.
that's sad.
I'm hyped for that, but I won't get into that. That's the whole thing. But
Yeah.
I just want to say that when that stuff starts to come about, now it's like it's in production, at least pre-production now. But when those movies start to come out, and there's like just like
Mhm.
the Star Wars like hype and noise, I think that's gonna be around the time where we get the next
I
Battlefront.
don't know, man. Like we've been so like the Star Wars content has been so saturated. You know, we get so much Star Wars stuff each year now. I don't know
Hmm.
if the hype for a new, even if it is like a mainline movie, I don't know if that's gonna do enough to like move the barometer in terms of like excitement for Star Wars. Because I think the recent trilogy left like a sour taste in people's mouth. So I don't know.
Oh
We'll have to see, but I can't see the hype being nearly as much as like when the Force Awakens trailer dropped. You know, that was like a
yeah,
different level.
and see, and that's the thing. I feel like I thought about that a lot because I was covering my mouth just now. um, I thought about that a lot. And the thing is, I 100% hear where you're coming from. But when it comes to them making Star Wars Episode 10, it has to be hype. When I say it has to be hype, I mean like Disney, you have the responsibility of making this thing the biggest moment, like or one of the biggest moments in Star Wars history.
Well,
Like
I
you
mean,
have they can fail,
they
but I'm
want
just
it
saying
to. Yeah, they're gonna
yeah,
want that to be the big thing.
they definitely can fail, but like that's gonna be like we're gonna like the full force of the Disney mega corporation. I expect to be pushing this thing. Like I expect it to
Well, I
get a
mean,
certain level of hype that is like we haven't seen since that last trilogy.
yeah, I mean they tried to get people hyped for the new trilogy, and yet they didn't even have a plan when they were making it. You know,
And,
they
and,
were
and they got
just
them hype.
swapping directors. Yeah, I mean they did, but the movies are still garbage.
And
And
that's something that also scares me because I feel like the director that they just selected for the new like mainline Star Wars movies, whatever, he doesn't like he's not like I talked with like my friend Terrence, he's a Star Wars fan. He's no offense to the guy, but he's no J.J. Abrams.
are you talking about
Like
Ryan Johnson?
I don't know his name.
Well, that
Yeah,
seems
I mean,
important.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like he's not a name that's like, I'll wait. I'll
Let's see.
circle back to that. But he's just not J.J. Abrams. It's not a
Why
hype
did-
thing. And I kind of like that's where my lack of confidence comes from because I think when you get a director who can, who has like this certain energy or like these like this history or someone that people trust to do
Oh, is it
this movie.
Sean Levy?
No, 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 no. He's doing
No.
a Star Wars movie, but he's not the guy.
Okay. See, that's the thing,
Um,
right? They make so much fucking Star Wars stuff now. It's like, how are you gonna get people hyped for new Star Wars stuff
well,
when it's like every 3 weeks there's like new Star Wars stuff?
that's true, but they did slow down on Star Wars movies. I don't
Yeah.
know what the last Star Wars movie was. Was it
The
Solo?
last No. No, Solo came out before episode 9, I
Oh,
think.
it did. Oh, okay.
I think so.
Um,
The most
Star
recent.
Wars.
Oh, well, I know the next one's like the Mandalorian and Grogu, which like
Yeah,
talk about like getting people hyped for a bunch of nothing. Like
bro.
they waited till people like stopped liking the show until they were like, yeah, let's make a movie now when people hate it. Like everyone talked about how that show got worse and worse, and now they decide to put like a movie out. Come on,
Yeah, I
man.
don't get it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like. I
It's
the Star Wars like I seen like a few episodes of Mandalorian. I'm not saying Mandalorian is bad. I'm not like trying to review Mandalorian or anything. But I feel like if you're gonna make if this new like Mandalorian and Grogu movie, like dude, this is supposed to be the next Star Wars movie in such a long gap. Like this movie
yeah.
should be insane. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like the next movie should have been episode 10. I'm still like I just like I picked up my phone. I'm trying to figure out like
Well,
where the director's at. But
it's
like
like
yeah,
multiple things, right? Like the movie is called The Mandalorian and Grogu.
ew,
If I'm someone who doesn't know anything about Star Wars and I hear that title, I'm like, what the fuck is that? The
yeah. I'm
Mandalorian and Grogu?
keep that
Okay.
away from me. Is what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
And then also, the first Star Wars movie that they're going to release in years, you're going to have to watch 3 seasons of bad TV as homework before you can go to the movie theater to watch this movie. Like, what are they thinking?
Ari
I
said it
mean,
was bad TV, not me.
The
I
first
just thought,
season's good, and the second season is garbage. And I didn't watch the third season because apparently it's even worse. So why would I bother with that? The second
yeah,
season,
man.
like as soon as fucking like CGI Luke Skywalker came in, I was like, dude, I'm
Oh, you weren't going
so
for
out
that?
of this. What?
I said you weren't going for that.
No, man. It's like the nice part about that show is that it had nothing to do with, Luke Skywalker. It was its own
Mm,
story. And then they were like, but actually, it's not. And then apparently they didn't even commit to that anyway. Like they're back together in the next season. So I mean spoilers, I guess, like
yeah.
for whoever gives a
I
shit. But like
Because
what,
yeah, that's
what are
my
they
thing, bro.
doing?
When you show me, because I heard about CGI. I think I seen CGI Luke when I'm hearing about like when I see CGI Luke, man, I'm expecting okay, it's about to get big. About to get serious. You tell me that they're not even going like they're not even doubling down into that. I mean,
But they it was nice because it didn't rely on nostalgia for like me to enjoy it. Like it was a good, well told story about like a stoic guy and this like little silly Yoda kid, and he develops a relationship with him and takes care of him, and now Luke Skywalker's here and he's like destroying me. And they always do this like very like reverent like music like when any of these older characters come on screen, and it's like such a circle jerk, honestly.
now
It's like
see, I like stuff
ugh,
like that. I'm not gonna lie. But
no, I
my thing is
hate it.
I'm not like my problem is they do stuff when you do something like that for Luke, I'm hype. But when they do something like that for a character that was in some character from Clone Wars, I really don't care. I'm sorry.
I don't care about
And
any of it. Like just make good stuff. Like Andor is great. It doesn't need cameos from big Star Wars characters. It's just really well written Star Wars.
the
And
guy
you make me care about the characters that you're writing, not ones that existed in like the 70s.
yeah, I feel that. I think
We've really gone
we
sidetracked at
did.
this
We
point.
did. We did. I wanted to say this because this I found I found what I was talking about. The
Okay.
guy who's doing the next three movies, the next trilogy,
Hmm.
10, 11, 12, is Simon Kinberg.
Who's that?
He was a producer on The Mandalorian, producer on Logan,
Great.
producer on Fantastic.
Oh god, the first image I see of him is in front of the Dark
Yeah,
Phoenix
like bro,
like premiere. Like that's
like
not good.
what are we doing? Like I mean, here's the thing: I'm not saying like he's gonna do a bad job. We don't know.
Mm.
He could end up doing a pretty decent job. He's a you know I have I have
Whenever they
hope.
get these like inside men, like it never goes well. Whenever they get
Yes,
these
exactly.
guys who they promote from the inside, it's always a shit show.
And that's the thing. Like I feel like J.J. Abrams was more of like he's kind of like a hot shot like artist. You know what I mean? Like people respect it. Like J.J.
Yeah,
Abrams was coming off of Lost and like you know what I
well,
mean? Like
I feel like his
Mission Impossible.
reputation's been diluted a little bit as time has gone
Maybe
by.
since
But I
then,
get what
but
you
like at
mean.
that time, you know what I mean? Like that's hype.
Yeah.
Like we have like there's a new Star Wars movie. It's in some really cool hands, and like I feel like that type of hype. Cause like we talking like what you said about like give me hype for new characters. And I was just rewatching episode 7. I love Ray. I like it, don't
Yeah.
erase like 8 and 9 for just for a second. I'm about to go back to those, but
Mhm.
I think Ray
You don't
was
have to,
cool.
but yeah.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
Ray's a fun character. I mean, like episode 7, episode 7, I feel like a lot of people were hotter on it than I was. I liked the characters that they introduced, but then when you know where their arcs go, it
Yeah,
like deflates everything,
that's
right?
literally what my friend, who's a huge Star Wars fan, said. He says like Episode 7 is fantastic. It's only the fact that you know that these things like don't really go anywhere or where they need to go, or however
Yeah.
you put it. I'm sorry, Terrence. That's what makes Episode 7 not feel as good. But like just
Hmm.
but in its own like bubble, I think
Yeah.
it's great.
If you imagine
Um,
that the next two movies don't exist, episode 7 is a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like when we look at just going back to Battlefront 2, I seen some Battlefront 2.
Full circle.
Yeah, full circle. Battlefront 2. I was watching this moment that took place on the planet from Episode 8,
Crate.
right? That's the one with the red.
The
Okay,
salt. Yeah.
yeah. So I think that like that map is beautiful.
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Really cool map, really cool thing to put into the game that comes from the new movies.
Mhm.
I think going to the whole idea of like making a new Battlefield 3 is like I'm gonna want more of those. Like I think it's gonna be better for it to come out later and feel like an expansion of the of or like I don't know. Battlefront 2 doesn't just feel like nostalgia. Like it doesn't feel like a huge nostalgia trip. It feels like I'm walking into something.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. And what's nice is that the nostalgia comes from like not the like just playing as like a B2 battle droid in like a Clone Wars
Yeah,
fight. You know, like it's nostalgic, but it's also just cool and fun in its own
yeah.
right. So I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. And it sounds like you want in Battlefront 3 big moments that will be in or like big, exciting settings that would be in new Star Wars movies. Is that
Yeah, the
what you're
franchise
getting at?
has to fire off on all cylinders, man. It has to
Mhm.
it has to be doing what it needs to do on the video game front, on the on the movie front, like and then those things have to work together to make that's how you get a Battlefront 2 in my opinion, is when things are working together in a large
Mhm.
way.
Yeah, I don't think that needs to happen for like Battlefront 3 to be the best game that it can be, but I can see how that would like make it more exciting, you
Let
know.
me ask this. I know we're trying to wrap up. I'm sorry. I
No, you're
apologize.
fine.
But what would you like? What would you want from a Battlefield, a Battlefront 3 that is not just Battlefront 2
Well,
re-release?
that's tough, right? Because that's what I said earlier. Is like I don't like Battlefront 2 is a pretty complete, solid game. Like
Maybe
it's
they just need to re-release Battlefront 2.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would love. I mean, Battlefront 2 still looks great and plays great.
It
So,
needs a next gen update on console. Like
oh,
it
okay.
like I played it on PC, it looks fantastic, but I feel like I want
Mm,
to be able to play on my console and take advantage of like next gen hardware, so like 4K, draw distances, render resolutions.
yeah,
And and how companies, they know how to sell nothing.
yeah,
You can sell
yeah.
me a nothing update for like just $10 re-release. Oh, it's so hype, people are back in the game. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, man, throw some new, throw a battle pass in there, yay. Yeah, it's sitting right there, yeah.
Oh, you know what would be cool if they took stuff from the Respawn games, like settings from there, and
Ooh,
put that in a new
that would be
Battlefront. That
insane.
would be pretty cool. Like
No,
playing as
that would
Cal
be
Kestis.
insane. Yes, putting Cal like, bro, if they re-release it and they have the perfect opportunity with the fact that there's no next gen version, they they do like a next gen refresh, like what we seen earlier on in this generation, and
Hmm.
you have characters like throw Mandalorian in there, throw
Yeah, like
Cal in there,
Ahsoka. You
yeah,
know.
throw Ahsoka in there, and that's really just those three right there. You
Yeah,
can kick things off with just that.
they're like great examples of how like the new era of Star Wars has succeeded, you know. Well, I mean Ahsoka, you can make the argument that that show was not good. But I think a lot of people still view that character as like a non-traditional
Yeah,
exciting character, you know. Um yeah, I think that would be cool. Mandalorian stuff, Ahsoka stuff, stuff from the Respawn games. What other like Star Wars stuff has come out? Like that's the thing, right? Like
there's a lot of TV
there
shows.
was a
Yeah,
period where it was like exciting, but like, hey, like this character from Skeleton Crew is coming to Battlefront. Like, they
I'm
just put
so
out so
scared to
much that
join
it's
you in
like,
that because I'm just like, because I think that's so much, bro. Like, I swear, like, and I just feel like I really like the mainline Star Wars movies, but it's like, bro, like, I
there's
just
just
think
so
like
much.
I don't understand how the Star Wars community is just like eating up all this Disney Plus garbage. Like
Yeah.
it's just so and then there's moments that I feel are just being ruined. I try to watch. I'm not gonna. I'm not.
Okay. I mean, a lot of this stuff is like not terrible, but it's just the fact that there's so much of it, you know? Like they
Yeah,
put out a good amount of stuff that's not bad, like it's fun to watch, but it's diluted the brand so much that it's hard to get
hundred
like
percent.
it used to be that like, hey, new Star Wars project, like, oh my god, like going to the
Yes,
theater day one. But now it's like new
yes.
Star Wars project
Okay,
dropping on Disney Plus, and it's like,
like bro,
okay,
like Star
I'll
Wars.
if it's good, I'll binge it maybe. Like when the season's over, if people say it's all right. but otherwise, I don't care.
Yeah, it's like, am I wrong to say that you shouldn't give the Star Wars IP to the Division 2 developers? Am I wrong for that? Like,
Well, no, I mean, I'm fine, like, letting developers play around and like, I don't think there's anything sacred about the Star Wars license,
mm,
you know? And it sounds, like, kinda silly to say that, but when you think back to all of the Star Wars stuff that came out, like, years and years ago, there's been so many Star Wars games, and those wouldn't have existed if they didn't, let people play around with that stuff, so I
yeah,
don't mind it.
because it's like when you say that, my mind goes to like the idea of a really cool Star Wars indie game. But then,
That's kind of an
but,
oxymoron.
but
Well, not really. I mean,
whoa, what do you mean? Explain.
well, like a Star Wars indie game, like I
Oh,
mean,
oh yes, yeah, you're right. Yeah, 100%. My fault. I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that. I when
I say
like
that,
it's in
but
like a
the
smaller studio, like the Star Wars
yeah,
IP. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
That's hilarious.
Well, I say that,
Um,
but like recently, like the rights to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like they let
yeah.
Strange Scaffold make one
Hmm.
of those games. So like,
That's what I thought
I'm
about.
joking about it, but like it's possible. So what do I
Yeah.
know?
But my thing is like when it comes to AAA, like it's like, oh, we're Star Wars Outlaws, big game, like
Yeah.
advertisement, and it's like, uh,
Yeah.
what are we
I
doing?
think there's a space for like what's nice about Star Wars is you can tell a bunch of different stories in that world, which is why it frustrates me when they keep going back to the same ones. But it's such a cool like space to play around in that you can tell so many different stories from different perspectives in exciting ways that like yeah, give it to whoever wants it and let them have fun, Because I think a lot of developers have unique visions that they can bring to this world, so let them do what they want with it.
Hey Ubisoft, if you could get the opportunity to make a uh, a Star Wars game, another Star Wars game after Outlaws, give Star Wars to whoever's working on For Honor. I want that. I want the,
Mm.
I want that. That's what I want.
like
And I don't
a
even need a story mode. Just
like
give me
a
combat.
Knights of Ren game. Like we finally get Knights of Ren backstory in the Star Wars For Honor video game.
What's Nice of Rent?
You don't see that's the lasting impact of the sequel trilogy. The group that Kylo was a part of, the dudes that they showed for like 2 seconds in the first
The
movie,
red
and
dudes?
no, the guys in the black outfits with the different weapons. Just look up
I
a
have
picture,
no
you'll
idea. That was
remember.
in the first. That was in seven.
They teased them in 7, and then in 8, they showed them for, like, 5 more seconds, and nothing came of it,
That
like
is
most
insane.
things in that trilogy.
That is insane. Okay.
Look up a picture, you'll recognize them. It sucks because they look cool, and they look like they should be significant, which is why I think a game would be really cool that starred them. Like,
Well,
it would
I
actually
want
give them a
Jedi,
story.
and I think these guys, yeah, these guys do look cool, but I want Jedi. I want
No,
lightsaber
I
battles.
don't think you need Jedi. I think Jedi's been done so many times.
But I don't have a game where I can fight my friend in a lightsaber battle and like
That's
it's
what
like a
Battlefront 2 is, bro.
but I mean like actually like deep melee combat, like almost like fighting game type combat. Oh
Well, that sounds like its own thing.
that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I want
Yeah,
from that team, like the For Honor team. I know they can do that.
yeah,
But yeah, it doesn't like if
that'd
you
be
guys
cool.
figure out a way to do like
Yeah.
multiple that I don't know how those guys are fighting Cal Kestis so effectively, but clearly you can do something with that.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
think there's a lot of oh man, I really gotta stop. We gotta get on to the
yeah,
next thing. I could
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about Star Wars for
All
so long.
right,
We were like before we started recording, we were like, oh, this is probably gonna be a shorter episode. We're 42 minutes in, and we've just
42.
been talking about Star Wars.
Oh my god. Okay.
So that's out the window. But anyway, yeah, it's easy to have a lot of opinions about Star Wars. Um, moving on to